Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to do a 2-for-1 review by way of the Shattered Glass Slicer and Exo-suit. And we're going to kind of explain who Exo-suit is, why he's included here, and why Slicer has a Shattered Glass Decepticon logo. There's a bit of a name game going on here. Shattered Glass Slicer and Exo-suit, both of them, and clearing up the mess of who exactly Slicer is and why he has a Decepticon logo. All of that and more is going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member at any given time. And this is Slicer with Exo-suit on him. We'll get to all of this and how it goes together and whatnot, and really what it means. There's a number of homages here. Now, I love the Earthrise Kingdom Wheeljack mold. I know some people didn't, but I do. Wheeljack's my boy. So a chance to have like the Shattered Glass version of that mold, the Shattered Glass version of that boy, yeah, was right up my alley. But I'm not gonna lie, when I see Slicer, the first thing that I expect is that it's going to be Wheeljack as a bad guy, going from the inventor to a little bit crazy. But there's a couple of things that throw, I guess, that idea for a loop here. The inclusion of Exo-suit and the inclusion of a Decepticon logo. What does it all mean? How does it all go together? Does it make sense? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at these two. And yes, indeed, we're going to be taking a look at not one, but two offerings today by way of the Shattered Glass line. And we're going to look at Decepticon Slicer as well as Exo-suit, which is a weird combination to a lot of people, but I'm going to kind of clear the waters as we go. And I got to give a huge shout out to our buddy Joe for sending this my way. It was a big surprise to me. He had mentioned that he was going to be ordering one, and I'd completely forgotten about it. Wheeljack's my boy, right? Wheeljack is my boy. So having bad guy Wheeljack, so to speak, although I guess the situation's a little more complex than just saying bad guy Wheeljack. Honestly, I'm tickled because I did really want this duo. Plus, my Shattered Glass Decepticons could use the boost, if I'm being perfectly honest. Of course, before we look at them, and I'll note this now, you'll notice that that Slicer is in the vehicle mode. That's because we already looked at the like Earthrise Kingdom Wheeljack going from robot to vehicle, the way he comes in a package. So this time we're going to document the transformation going back in the other direction by way of Slicer. But before we can look at either of these guys or kind of try to clear the waters of why he has a Decepticon symbol and why did he come with Exo-suit and whatnot, before any of that, let's look at the packaging first. And the packaging is actually kind of wild. We have a picture of Slicer here with his menacing red eyes, as well as Shattered Glass down here. Over here we have a nice look to him. Same over here. And on the back, if you read the bio, it basically is Wheeljack, right? It's saying that he's an inventor, he wants to get recognition for his inventions, and he tries really hard, and blah, 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 blah. So he's the, I guess, good guy Decepticons version of Wheeljack, and I think that that would make sense. However, a lot of people immediately questioned when this first came out and said, whoa, 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 how come Slicer doesn't have a Shattered Glass Autobot symbol, and how come he comes with Exo-suit? We'll clear that up in a little bit, but that's the packaging. We've got a super giganto set of instructions. I'm not going to be exhaustive when I show the stuff here because most of it we have already seen before. As far as new things in the package goes, we have this particular blaster, and yes, it does bend. It's single barrel, but man, it's molded really cool in this red translucent. And yes, I don't have it straight, but it does go straight. And this nicely double-barreled blaster, again in red translucent, and again it can fold down. And honestly, I'm holding onto a 5mm peg. There's another one over here. There's like two on either side of this one, like, you know, one here and then there's another one up top. So like they can be used in different configurations. Admittedly, I didn't show the third accessory, which is the shoulder-mounted accessory that the Kingdom Earthrise Wheeljack came with. This time it's black with a little bit of red paint up on the missile section on front. But these two pieces, the red translucent blasters, can plug in on the back and fold out around the side, or if you prefer, you could have them fold up over the top of the vehicle as well. And this is supposed to be an homage to the 2010 Decepticon Slice from Timelines. So this is a nice little homage to that. By the way, I think that thing was part of a Power Links combiner too, if I'm not mistaken. Now, all that being said, they should also be on his shoulders in robot mode. So how about we get to robot mode? We're going to remove that from there and remove this from the back as well. I'm just straightening them out, and I'm going to take this from up here. By the way, he does roll great. I love the look of the blue that goes into the black. This is a matte black back on the back bumper, but I like this. I think that this looks really, really cool. In terms of doing the transformation, I'm going to try and do it somewhat quick. We pull out an arm on the side, and we should be able to, I hope, pull out an arm on the side over here. I might have to get to that in a minute. We take the back bumper off and we bring that arm kind of down and out. I'm going to try and get it off now on this side as well, but we'll see if I have luck with it. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and this is it underneath, by the way. We get that arm out and down to the side. Now I'm going to back up the camera here a little bit so it's not in quite so close, because I think most of us have an idea of how this is going to kind of go. There we go. Now hopefully that'll give us some room here to work. I'm going to turn the spoiler pieces up thusly. I'm going to take the head up thusly. I'm going to turn the biceps and the wrists so that the kind of upper body is really all done. We're going to take the waist and turn it around, and we're going to, can I pick this up yet? Yeah, I can pick that up. And we're going to bring the chest up. Then we're going to take the legs apart. And one of the gripes that a lot of people had with Wheeljack is, well, two gripes. One, they said the head, when we wanted to put it in the chest, it really, like, it was in so tight that they had to like shave stuff down. That's not the issue here. That works beautifully. And that tabs in nicely. The other issue people had was these two pieces of the windshield coming off of the knees. I don't know yet, really, because I haven't transformed him back to robot. If that problem still persists here, let's find out. We're going to pick out a leg. We're going to fold down that windshield piece. We're going to bring the leg all the way down and tab it in and bring up the foot. One side worked out really nicely, really nicely. We're going to, ooh, this one maybe not so much. Oh no, okay, I got it out. Fold this down, bring it down, in. Yeah, we got the foot up and boom, here we have our boy. Essentially in robot mode. I'm going to put his accessories on him, and then we're going to kind of talk about him and Wheeljack just a little bit. Oh man, this looks so good to me. Now, before we kind of talk about both of these guys just slightly, I want to note that Wheeljack here has a couple of upgrade kits on him. I previously looked at them. They too are from our good buddy Joe, so a huge shout out to Joe for really taking care of me with who is essentially my favorite Autobot. I love Wheeljack. Also, these red blasters that I have on his shoulders facing forward are again an homage to that 2012 offering from BotCon, right? Timelines, which I guess was probably Collector Club. I don't know, maybe it was BotCon. And again, you could have these facing up or you could have them facing down, kind of like Megatron's fusion cannon. But the way that they were on the 2010 offering was forward. And explicitly, the double-barreled one belongs on this side and the single-barreled one belongs on this side. Now, Let's kind of clear the waters here just a little bit. Normally speaking, most people would say, okay, so the good guy Autobot inventor is Wheeljack. And then the maniacal and vicious counterpart is Shattered Glass Autobot Slicer. He doesn't even call himself Wheeljack, he calls himself Slicer because he's gone from now really an inventor to a maniac, right? However, that's not the whole story. Certainly not this time around. Indeed, there is Wheeljack and there is, by rights, Shattered Glass Wheeljack, who is essentially the exact same look as this guy with just a Shattered Glass Autobot logo there instead of his regular Autobot logo. Not many people know that because they immediately go to this coloration, and there is lore and an argument for doing exactly that. However, there are other parts of the fiction where Shattered Glass Wheeljack looks exactly like this guy with a purple Autobot symbol. Take that for what you will. In fact, the iteration of Shattered Glass Wheeljack that keeps this color with just the Shattered Glass Autobot symbol was most recently seen in Transformers Forged to Fight. Specifically within this section called Shattered Glass Bridges or Shattered Bridges or something like that. So then, if this is a good guy inventor in the positive universe, and this is a still good guy inventor in the negative universe, then how is this a Shattered Glass? I would argue that these are actually two completely different characters, not one and the same. Because you see, a long time ago, in fact, 1991, we had a line called Action Masters. And within Action Masters, we actually had Decepticon Slicer. Now, Decepticon Slicer, he only knows one thing. He knows how to attack, he knows how to fight, he's still a berserker. In other words, in the positive universe, where Wheeljack is a good guy inventor, in that same universe, we have Slicer as a G1 evil Decepticon. I would argue that rather than being the counterpart of Wheeljack, this is the counterpart of Action Master Decepticon Slicer. Now, in Shattered Glass, he really takes the role of inventor. Now you might say, I don't know about that, GotBot. Two actually different characters? But there's more evidence to go with it because the original 1991 Action Master, of course, came with a partner, right? All the Action Masters came with partner. Can you guess who the Action Master Slicer's partner was? That's right. It was Exo-suit. So that's exactly why I say, yeah. In the positive universe, Slicer was a Decepticon maniac. In the Shattered Glass universe, in essence, he is still the same sort of temperament, the same sort of personality as the Wheeljack we know and love. And it also explains why he has a Decepticon logo. As for our boy Exo-suit here, in essence, the Action Master was able to wear the parts, much like we do with weaponizers, and it acted as an exosuit for Action Master Slicer, just as this will act as an exosuit for this guy, or can act as an exosuit for this guy. I know that that's a lot of lore to take in. By the way, as far as Exosuit goes, he's basically a mindless drone, or he was a mindless drone. And to be fair, the Exosuit mold, I think, was used for like a couple of other, I guess, characters as well, like Circuit, Rumbler, you know. I don't know about Thundercracker used bits and pieces of it. I'm not sure now, but like, yeah, that's where it comes from. So, just to kind of summarize all of that, and then we're going to give this guy his scores and look at this guy. I'm going to say that rather than this being the Shattered Glass Wheeljack, I'm going to say that Shattered Glass Wheeljack is a completely different character, right? In the Shattered Glass universe, the Autobots do have the maniacal Wheeljack, while the Decepticons have the inventor Slicer. In the positive universe, the Autobots have the inventor Wheeljack, and the Decepticons have the maniacal bad guy Slicer. Hope that makes sense, because I know there's a lot of kind of confusion there about the names. As far as this guy goes, we don't particularly have a ton of fiction to compare him to, but we do have the original kind of Action Master. The original Action Master sort of has more pink on him that they do here with red. I kind of like the red. Otherwise, the blue is pretty much in the right place. The gray is pretty much in the right place on the arms. You know, even the gold on the head is pretty good. I'm going to say that the transformation for Slicer is nice. It's smooth. Honestly, it's a 9.5. I think it's better than it was with Wheeljack because those knee pieces don't pop off. In terms of the... Get him out of it. In terms of the coloration, I like you definitely know it's Shattered Glass Slicer, Shattered Glass, Wheeljack, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say that, again, there's a significant amount of paint here. I'm going to give it a 10. So we have a 9.5 and a 10. The articulation for this guy, we have a head that can go left and right. It looks not much up, a little bit down. Bit down, not much up. The arms, they, of course, can go all the way around. They can go out to the side, way up. Elbow to 90 degrees. The wing pieces, of course, they move. They can come out. Bicep swivel, wrist rotation. We have a waist swivel. We have the legs all the way forward. They can go back pretty significantly. Thigh swivel. Knee to, for sure, 90 degrees. Full splits out to the side. Ankle tilt and ankle forward. Toe tilt, I guess we'd call it. He has pretty much everything I could want, and I'm going to tell you now, every single joint on this guy feels fantastic. A 9.5 for the color, a 10, or sorry, 9.5 for the transformation, a 10 for the color. I'm going to say a solid 9.5 for the articulation. I loved the Earthrise Kingdom Wheeljack. I love this guy as much, if not more. He just feels a little smoother, a little tighter, a little more refined. Now, like I said, I'm not going to show all the modes and stuff for this guy. It is a reuse of Black Rorichi. Not Fast Track, Black Rorichi. How do I know this? Because the head was slightly remolded. There's a couple of kind of antenna, if you will, that it's on the Fast Track mold that's not on Black Rorichi. It's not on this either. Again, I'm going to do this transformation as quickly as I can. I sort of struggled with it on GotBot Goes Live last week when I tried to take a look at this guy and couldn't really remember how to do it. I'm not showing everything here. I just want to do it sort of quickly to get him in robot mode. So the arms, let's see, how do we start this? We'll take all of that off and we'll flip out a leg and we'll flip out a leg. And this was where I started having problems last week. So I take those down, I think, for now. While I'm doing that... Okay, so after a couple of little fumbles, because I simply couldn't remember how things went, I think I'm back in the races, so to speak. Okay, so we should have this piece and this piece folded down along, so that we have like this little rectangular tab and this little rectangular tab in line with this circular section here. And what will happen is, if I move that over slightly, what will happen is the two little rectangular tabs will go in on the side here, and the circle will kind of slot in right there. So that this should be able to, yeah, slide on exactly like that. Whew, good. That leaves us with a peg hole right there in the middle of the back. If we take this piece and we flip it like this, so it was like this for tank mode, and we flip it like this, that leaves us with a peg. That peg can go in right there. I guess you could have it that way, or you could turn it around. That's up to you how you want to do it. Turn the hands around, and yes, he does have the kind of blaster hands, but if you don't want them there, you can take them out, and they do fit in up here. On my Fast Track, these connections on the hands and the shoulders are super duper loose. Black Rorichi, they're tighter. This guy is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Speaking of Fast Track and Black Rorichi, and here we have all three versions of the mold. You'll notice a couple of silver antenna right here on Fast Track. It's not on this guy, not on this guy. In terms of the transformation, I'm calling it a 10 because the combinations and the configurations are almost endless, but if you don't like parts forming, then you're going to detest this and hate it, and you're going to give it a 1. So it's very subjective. In terms of the coloration, I mean, the original Exo-suit for the Action Master was like a pink and fuchsia. This is a pink and red. It's close enough. I'm going to give that a 10, I guess. And then we get to the articulation, taking this guy out of it, taking this guy out of it. It's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. The head can go left, right, no real up and down. The shoulders only go out this far, even with this off. The shoulders are a bit limited. Elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel, wrist rotation. Waist rotation, legs all the way forward, legs all the way back. Super deep knee, ankle tilt, toe tilt. I mean, it has most of what I would want. But, like I said, not absolutely perfect. Now, I am happy, though, to have, again, another Decepticon for the ranks, because, honestly, all I have currently is Megatron and Starscream, so they are vastly outnumbered. For the articulation, I'm going to say a 9 because of that one kind of shoulder limit. He can also do the Tyrant Spear mode. I've shown that on previous videos as well. So, what about this set as a whole? I think it's a solid set. I gave good scores to Slicer because I think he takes everything that's good about the earlier Wheeljack mold and improves upon it. And I think that the Exo-suit takes everything that was good about Black Rorichi and Fast Track and improves upon it. They both feel tighter, they both feel smoother, and the strange thing is you would expect mold degradation, but if anything, these feel better, at least my copies do. They scored well. Are they, you know, again, I guess a little bit pricey? I mean, that depends. I mean, the prices, the going rate for 2 deluxes, and you do get 2 deluxes in the package, even if Exo-suit is just folded up in paper at the bottom. Fun fact, I'd be okay if everything just came folded up with paper. It would save, you know, a couple of dollars in packaging, right? I love it. I think it is a solid set. I couldn't be more thankful or more happy to add it not only to my collection, but to my Shattered Glass Decepticon ranks. And here we are once again, and here they are. So, okay, so long story short, and I tried to explain it in there, that in the normal universe that we're all living in now, man, Slicer is a bad guy Decepticon. I guess you could say he's a twin of Wheeljack, but, you know, even in the positive universe, even though he didn't show up on the cartoon, Slicer is established as a Decepticon that looks like Wheeljack. So I guess in Shattered Glass, the Decepticon Slicer became good guy Decepticon Slicer, and instead of being, you know, the maniac that Slicer normally is, he becomes more like the inventor that the normal Wheeljack we know always is. Yes, it's confusing, but the evidence is clear because of both the Decepticon logo and the inclusion of Exo-suit, the Action Master partner of Decepticon Slicer. And that wasn't the Shattered Glass thing. In the Action Master line, it wasn't Shattered Glass Slicer. It was just Decepticon Slicer. It was just, we have the Wheeljack, let's repaint it, let's make it a bad guy and call it Slicer. Actually, I think they called it Slice. But whatever. Close enough, good enough. I love this. I think both versions of the mold here not only don't have mold degradation, but I feel like they're more solid and work the way they're absolutely intended to work. I think they're the best uses of each of these molds that I've experienced yet. Huge shout out to Joe. He is the guy who sourced this for me and hooked me up with it, and I couldn't be happier. Man, oh man, good guy Wheeljack. I guess technically it should be bad guy Wheeljack, but you know, good guy Wheeljack and good guy Slicer and Exo-suit to boot. Extra forces for Megatron and Starscream in my Shattered Glass line? Yes, please, and thank you. I absolutely love this duo. Let me know what you think about Slicer and Exo-suit. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and especially don't forget that somehow, some way, man, each and every single solitary day that you are here, that you're on this planet, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.